presumptive nominee for president, Vice President Kamala Harris, here in Houston, speaking to the American Federation of Teachers. Anchor Anthony Antoine joins us live from the GRB Convention Center, where the VP just wrapped up her speech here in the past 90 minutes.
Yeah, the vice president took the stage and spoke for about 20 minutes or so, and this was certainly a campaign speech, but she found ways to make it applicable to the 3,000 or so folks that were inside of George R. Brown Convention Center to listen to her speak at the American Federation of Teachers annual convention. Let's jump into some of the highlights here. When she walked on stage, she started by thanking the current president for essentially stepping aside and allowing her to now grab the baton and move our country forward. She then went on to find ways to discuss how important it is for teachers to continue to have what they need for the future and the success of our children. She talks about her grade school teacher who eventually made it to her law school graduation and how that relationship continued to foster throughout her career. But she also touched on a win for the Biden administration when you talk about loan repayments here. She touched on a teacher who was paying off student loans for about 20 years, but then it was forgiven by the Biden administration for $40,000. But just take a listen here. There were a couple of moments in the crowd that they really resonated with. So listen to just a couple of them.
We are in a fight for our most fundamental freedoms. And to this room of leaders, I say, bring it on. Bring it on. Bring it on.
She also went to say that, quote, we want to ban assault weapons and they want to ban books. And that also resonated pretty clearly here with the crowd. But she also touched on some points of emphasis for the campaign moving forward. And you're going to hear these reoccurring themes here throughout the campaign trail up until Election Day. Certainly reproductive freedoms, a woman's right to choose when it comes to abortion. She also touched on the freedom to love whoever you want. And again, banning books versus banning assault weapons. Those are just some of the central themes that she discussed. We'll have more for you tonight at 5 o'clock. But again, this will be a very heated race as we approach the November election between Kamala Harris, the presumptive Democratic nominee, and Donald Trump. We'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Anthony, we'll see you back here at 5 o'clock. Thanks a lot, sir. Fox 26's Dominique Keith. She picks up our team coverage from here. She's live at GRB, monitoring the reaction from the audience. Dominique, what are you hearing this afternoon from people who attended the speech?
Yeah, Delon, when Vice President Kamala Harris took the stage here at GRB here in Houston around 10:30 this morning, she was met by a sea of waving signs of support, lots of people cheering and clapping. And we can take a look at the video. She is here delivering the keynote speech for the American Federation of Teachers for their national convention. And here at the Teachers Union Convention, VP Harris is certainly among friends, if you will. The AFT announced this week it is endorsing Harris for the Democratic nomination for president. The union is 1.8 million members strong, and clearly from the VP's keynote, she was keenly aware of her audience, speaking quite a bit about education and her support for teachers. Now, the vice president and presumptive Democratic presidential candidate told the crowd she represents the future and her opponent wants to set America back, is what she said.
In our vision of the future, we see a place where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. A future where no child has to grow up in poverty, where every senior can retire with dignity, and where every worker has the freedom to join a union.
And after the speech, I spoke with a number of the educators who were here and who listened to that keynote, and they said that was one of the things that really stood out to them. And so that's why we chose that particular section to give to you, because they say that really resonated with a lot of them. And this is the vice president's second trip to Texas in just 2 weeks. She was in Dallas a couple of weeks ago speaking to the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. But this is one of her first speeches since announcing that she was running for president, since President Joe Biden dropped out of the race on Sunday and announced his support for Vice President Kamala Harris. And she hit the campaign trail running, and this was certainly a campaign speech. Reporting live at GRB, I'm Dominique Keith, Fox 26 News.